I've been challenged by. So that's what this is about today. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media and the behavioral aspects of it. So let's get started. So, how many have you been harassed? Again, let's ask. Woo! Look at that. Oh my God. Maybe it's because you had your clothes on. Or maybe you're just a pervert. I like that, right? So, bullying harassment is hate. It really is hate. It's really about sending a message that there's something wrong with another person. And why do we need to do that? And, you know, it's not just like on the playground anymore. It's not in the office. Now, it's all over social media. You can be either a victim or you can receive it. And, you know, it's not always a good experience. And through more and more technology, it's not going to be a good thing. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is I've personally experienced, not only as a 13-year-old, but later in life, when I worked at different establishments, I was bullied and also sexually harassed as far as my job. I fired a couple times because of it, because I wouldn't perform or I wouldn't do something that somebody wanted. So it's a real personal subject, and I think it's really important to talk about why we have to keep hating and, you know, why people in social media continue to do this to each other. And we're going to look at a profile of the cyberbully. This is not working. Why is this not working?
I think you're going to point it behind it. It should be away. You're going to point it behind you.
Oh, go up there. Okay. So we're going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to be, after we kind of talk about a few things, we have our distinguished panelists here. Tasman Lucia, and Kyle generously was filling in today. Scott Croucher, actually his wife went into labor, and so he couldn't be here. So that's the reason. But Kyle Kittleson was able to fill in. So thank you very much. So you guys all know the good. We've been talking about live stream and periscoping all week, or the last couple of days. We're connected with the world. We share in real time. We do all kinds of education. We share content. We're building, marketing our business. We're interacting. We're collaborating. And this is the wonderful thing about social media and live stream. We're sharing tips. We're, you know, educating. I remember jumping on a scope with a guy that was watering his plants in Jamaica. You know, Tasman talks about all kinds of scope for good, and Bree's talking about her project for the homeless, and Kyle is sharing about his life and his bullying experience. And this is the good parts of Periscope and social media. Collaborating, we're partnering, we're delivering valuable content. We have Perry Trains, we have Pass the Cast. We're speaking out on issues that affect all of us. We're taking a stand. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this is I did a whole campaign about no open boobs. And for some of you that don't know the whole story about the boob thing is, and I was telling some, we were in Times Square and we were talking about that because I had my t-shirt on, and the translation in Turkish, that open is really show. So they would say open bobs and they would misspell boobs. And, you know, this is how this whole, you know, open bobs came. And so I just decided I would do a shirt that said no open boobs. So that's how it all came about. We're, you know, social media is all about collaborating and interacting. We've had lots of Perry meetups in Los Angeles. We're very active with all of that, and it's wonderful. Woo! Lots of meetups, that's right. We're building the community of Periscope. So the bad, we can get addicted. It's a real disorder. And the problem with it is it's very difficult to stop watching. How many of you are addicted to Periscope? Well, I want you to know that I have actually an internet addiction test that you can pick up at the end here if you'd like to take, and you get a score. So if you'd like that, yes, that's right, you're a scopeaholic. So it is. And how many of you know what nomophobia is? No. It's actually a separation anxiety from your phone. How many of you have that? You're looking at your phone. Right, so we all have this nomophobia. So I'm going to take you all with me to the hospital after this. So let's talk about Periscope addiction. You know, I've been on Periscope for probably about four or 5 months. And it's been so interesting observing the behavior of people, myself. I do a lot of self-study, you know, what has happened to me as far as the different experience interacting as a user versus a broadcaster. Interesting thing is that broadcasters get addicted to being seen, being recognized, right? Being popular, sharing. And they can use it as a way to actually gain friends and deal with loneliness, right? And I find myself sometimes jumping on, and it gives you, and I know you guys have all spoke about that, you know, kind of feeling like, oh, now my friends are in the room. You know, I love this little graphic here. I love my computer because my friends live in it. You know, that's it's fun. And this infobesity, you know, that we're all in there gathering information and interacting and connecting with people. So that's what's the interesting thing behaviorally about it. Now, the user can be addicted to belonging to a tribe. Actually, in our mammalian brain, which is our primitive brain back here, we have a mechanism that has us want to connect and join as far as protection goes. And so we want to join these tribes. You guys all have different names for your different, they'll tell you what the name of their tribe is later, but you know, this is something that we do as human beings to connect, and what a great medium that Periscope is that is allowing for us to do this. Being recognized, you know, I know a lot of times when you come into Scopes, you want the broadcaster to shout your name out. And I know I find if I go in one and they don't, I have a feeling about that. How many of you have that feeling too? If you go in and you're not recognized. I mean, not like you're gonna, you know, go off and do something dangerous or something, but you have a feeling. There's a feeling about it, right?
It's engaging.
Alex always acknowledges.
Alex always does.
Yeah. So do you, Justice.
Right, you engage. That's the key. Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't like it. Oh, you don't like it. Yeah. So, you know, that's an interesting thing about it. We have these feelings, okay? The user also wants to be seen. He wants he or she wants to be noticed in the scopes by the broadcaster and other scopers. Like I know one of the first scopes, not the first scope, Alex and Alex Pettick were like the first scopes I was watching, and Justices. I became part of the Justice League. And when I would go in there, we started, you know, interacting with all the different tribe members, as the Paramans do, as the Briops do, and I don't know, Kyle, what is your... The Kittle fam. So your family is all interacting. You know, they're addicted to that interaction of being part of something, and that's part of us as human beings. So that's a pretty cool thing. Oh, I forgot the FOMO thing. We all know what FOMO is, and everybody that is not at the conference, believe me, they're all having FOMO all week. If I wasn't here, I probably wouldn't have wanted to turn on my Periscope, because, you know, everybody's been saying that. A lot of my friends are like, oh my God, I wish I'd gone. I know, I was telling you. So, you know, this is a lot. Social media addiction, it's actually in the DSM. If you don't know what the DSM-4 is, it's actually the Bible that I use as a psychotherapist to diagnose, and we have to diagnose sometimes for insurance reimbursement. And so in the new DSM, it actually is internet use disorder. It's actually impulse control disorder. So, but what distinguishes it is really not the hours of use, but how it impacts your life. And this is the interesting thing. So the test kind of allows you to look at that. So you can take one at the end if you'd like. So, you know, if you're forgetting to pick your kids up at school, right? You know, that's what happened to me as a kid. My parents forgot to pick me up one day. Luckily, I got home okay. But, you know, that does happen. You forget to do things. I remember I was like, you know, I put some water on for some tea and, you know, went and I was watching Periscope, I think, and, you know, went back. I'm like, oh, shoot, you know, the water was boiling for a while. So, you know, sometimes the Periscope does impact our life. How many people find that has really changed your life since you've been on it? Okay. And in what ways? Shout out some ways that the Periscope has changed it as far as
Networking on steroids.
Networking on steroids, right?
Sleep.
But no sleep. Oh yeah, you're not sleeping as much. You're no light. No life. No response. How many of it has it ruined one of your relationships? Anybody's relationship been ruined because you're watching Periscope? Or Jasmine's?
I don't have any relationship.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll talk to me later. I'm helping with that. So, it is a real disorder.
That means something's lacking in your relationship and you're getting it from Periscope instead.
It could be, yeah, because, I mean, in any addiction, an addiction is an escape of some kind. You're covering up something, and I'm an addiction specialist. I have a lot of them, and I help a lot of people with them, so I'm an expert at it. It was in my family, and a lot of times it's passed down because of, you know, learned behavior and, you know, ways of covering up, you know, things that are going on. So, yeah, you know, again, an addiction is a pattern of behavior that becomes a crisis in your life. So just because you like to eat candy doesn't mean you're a candy addict, or just because you like to watch sex or porn or, you know, Periscope doesn't mean you're an addict, but it is if that behavior is impacting your life in a negative way. So that's what you want to look at, and you can take the test. And we'll all so again, addiction affects our brain. These are the chemicals: dopamine, reward, pleasure, serotonin. And cognitive behavioral therapy, which is one thing I do, the CBT. Dr. Kimberly Young created a whole program of digital dieting. So think about this, guys. So you start, you know, deciding, you know, how much you're going to be on Periscope. So it is. If you guys are having a problem with it, the only thing you can do is set a timer and, you know, decide if you're going to, you know, change the behavior. Also, she designed digital nutrition, which is what you're picking, you know, what you're clicking on. So those are two programs that, you know, she had. Okay, so the ugly side, we're getting to the harassment here. Bullying with comments and spam, cyber harassment, you know, sexuality, body shaming. The Bopo tribe is a collaboration of people that are on Periscope supporting women in stopping this attractiveness and body shaming on Periscope, and they're a whole, you know, group of women that are really trying to support you. We also have racial and religious prejudice. How many of you have been harassed for racial issues?
The black guy, obviously.
Yeah. Sorry about that. And what about religiously?
Black Jesus.
Black Jesus. And what about skill or talent? Because we have musicians, we have comedians. I mean, there's a lot of bullying, harassment going on in that, you know. Offline stalking. Now, Scott was here. He actually was bullied, and offline there was a person that was showing up on Periscope on and off, and actually this woman actually created a group of people to bully him offline. Like not only one, but a group of people, like friends and things like that. And he was actually stalked and bullied offline and had to take some legal action, and actually had to get off Periscope and all social media for about a month or so, you know, to really clean it up. And sorry he wasn't here to tell his story, but, you know, that's can be an issue. Also, crime related. I heard a story of somebody that thought that they got robbed because they revealed their location on Periscope, and some items were stolen and things like that. So we have to be really careful with that. Okay, here's I love this graphic here. So the profile of a cyberbully. Males usually harass and bully regarding sex and attractiveness, embellish for power or position, and females usually bully regarding looks, body type, fame, financial and religious status, or relationship, sorry. Age, usually kids, teenagers, young adults. I think, Tasman, you were saying what it's, it's just a lot of 13-year-old boys, behind the screen, and they don't have to reveal their photos or their profile, and they're bored, right? They're not involved in their life. They have low self-esteem, probably been bullied themselves. Most people learn that behavior. It's a learned behavior to hate. You have to hear it or you have to experience it sometime, in your life. Low self-esteem. Hurt people, unheard people, hurt people because of shame, anger and guilt. So what can you do about? There's several steps you can, ignore. A lot of people just ignore. That's what I do. I don't get that many in my scopes. I just ignore them. If they get bad, I definitely block them like you. And you guys all will talk about your different experiences and what you do. But these are some things you block. You always save the information. Be careful about that. Also save, information, emails. If you get stalked offline, screenshots, things like that, make sure you save them in case you need to take some legal action. Protect and tell somebody. There's an article on the website No Open Boobs, and I also have a few sheets here that I printed off where you can go and get resources, and there's articles on that there. Okay, now we can talk to the panel. Yay. So, what I'd like to do right now is have each one of them just kind of introduce yourself. And what I'd like to know first is, one of the experiences that you've had that has kind of rocked you more than anything. Yeah. No, I think they're on.
Can you guys hear me?
No. Can you turn the mics? Oh, there. There they go.
Hi, Micah.
Oh, no. You want to borrow mine?
Now it's on. Or you can use this one. Here, use this one.
Hello. Oh, yeah. Hello.
I always have
Sorry about that. Okay, guys, my name is Tasman on Periscope and on Twitter. I've been on television for over 15 years. I'm also in tech, and I will pass it on to Bree.
I'm Bree Olson, and I'm just periscoping.
I actually do require an introduction on this panel. My name is Kyle Kittleson. I'm Scott's replacement. My second full-time job.
And what do you actually do? What do you tell me?
I'm a TV host in LA, and to Dr. Cindy Brown's question and experience with bullying, I released a controversial video last year on YouTube. I used to be a killer whale trainer at SeaWorld, and when Blackfish, the movie, came out, I released a video. It went viral, and for the first time as an adult and in my life, I was bullied. And when I say bully, I don't mean you're an idiot, I don't like you. I mean, we're gonna find your mom and we're gonna rape her, you are gonna get AIDS and die. Here's how I want you to kill yourself. Send me the video afterwards.
I hate SeaWorld. I'm so proud of you.
You what?
I hate SeaWorld. I'm so proud of you.
I was in support of SeaWorld, so now it's awkward. But I'll send you my
You were in
video.
support of SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Oh, so never mind.
I'll
I thought
tweet.
you were saying that you outed them.
No, I'll mean tweet you
Oh,
later.
okay. Now I have to bully you along with the rest of
She's just showing an example.
Blah.
Yeah, and so it,
Yeah, I just did it.
and it is a topic of heated conversation.
That was planned.
Conversation is great, but bullying is not. And because Hollywood, this video has led to a show that's coming out about bullying, where I take bullies, and put them face to face with their victims. Because I've never been bullied in person. Not one person has ever said, Kyle, I'm gonna curse, okay, everyone? You fucking faggot, I hope you die. No one's ever told me that in my life. But I get told it all the time on the internet. So I wanted to bring those people together on that show. And we think this is an annoyance. We think bullying is annoying, but last year about 4,400 people killed themselves because they were bullied. More than half of the bullies online are adults. This isn't a millennial high school problem. And over half of them are parents. Parents.
Yes.
So when you look at that bully, like I remember one of these guys told me to do something, and I looked at his Twitter profile, and he said, his description was, I'm putting God and Jesus first, and I'm a doting father of 3.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's why your daughters are gonna bully, right? So sorry, I hogged the mic. Go ahead.
No.
Very interesting. Very
So this is it can be experiences off Periscope as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you want to know the experience where it's like rocked
the
your
one that
life.
just, you
okay,
know.
fine. So obviously working in television, I could never have been prepared for the real stalker. So I've had 3, probably what I would call high-profile stalkers, and 3 court cases, and a jail sentence too. My father's never hit me, no man's ever touched me, except for one stalker. And, you know, he cleverly, I don't know how he got in, but he got in, and when he saw me, he literally lifted me up, put his hand on my neck, dangled me, and then just hit me against the wall. And then, of course, I just dropped. And I think, you know, when you go through that kind of experience, you take bullying on Periscope a lot more seriously. It has to start from somewhere. You know, it starts from like, oh, I hate you for flirting with that guy that you interviewed on television. Or, you know, I don't like what you're wearing. Or, you know, you're a bitch. You know, It starts like this, and it starts small, and it starts with name calling, and maybe, you know, move on. So when I'm going to turn this back to Periscope, the reason I feel very seriously and passionately about trolls is because, you know, Periscope has only been around for a few months. That obsession needs to take a few months to like settle in. I've heard some horrific stories from yourself, and it's really nice when, you know, when we met up in LA a little while ago, and we've had so much to connect on, because when you're, you know, a popular female broadcaster, you have all these fears, and perhaps you don't want to talk to your viewers about them all the time, because you don't want to scare other female broadcasters. But there are times where someone has said on Scope, you know, I'd like to kidnap you. And he's thinking, I don't know why he's saying that. Is he being serious? Is he not being serious? But I've spent a year of my life literally moving home because of a real kidnap threat. And so he may be a 13-year-old, he may be a 60-year-old. I don't know. I don't want to find out. I'm not going to wait around. So
you take it really seriously.
I take it really seriously. And, you know, I'm someone that I'm going to be very serious when I become a mother. You know, I'm going to be very protective of my children. And so I'm protecting myself now. And I think you need to prepare yourself instead of dealing with a situation after.
I'd say my biggest experience with bullying in my life is after I left the adult industry, and I have millions of followers on my social media, and being Brie Olson, an adult, and Playboy cover, blah, blah, like everyone loved me. They were adoring fans, and the second I stopped, they were like, again with the curse words, like, fuck you, bitch, you stupid whore, you're worthless, you're a slut, and it was literally just because I'm not doing what they want anymore. I'm not having sex on camera, and they think that there's no life for me after that. And it has continued, and I even had buttons made called my 20%, and it was the 20% of people that were nice to me. And now it's completely the opposite. It's more than 80% that are nice to me, and I think, Periscope's really changed that.
And Kyle, you have a one on Periscope, because you talked to one experience at SeaWorld, but what about on Periscope?
Yeah, it transfers over. I mean, every social media platform has a lot of bullying with it. Probably YouTube is the worst in my experience, but we were talking earlier that I don't know for everyone here, but when you started on Periscope, especially if you were super early on, wasn't it 100% positive?
Yeah.
And I always talked about that. I go, why is everyone so nice here? Like, this isn't real life. And slowly that is changing. And it's a red flag. It may be inevitable. And when we're up here talking about, oh, this is a problem for us, it is. It's definitely a problem for us. But here's where I really urge everybody, and what I preach on my platform is, do not think about how this is affecting you, because all of us are adults, okay? We know it's going to happen, and we're going to be smart about it, and we're going to be safe about it. But there is a 13-year-old girl in Kansas City who is watching how you're going to respond to these people. If you make it a big deal, when it happens to her, not if, it's going to happen to her, okay? She's alive and she's on the internet. When it happens to her, she will make it a big deal. And if you not make it a deal or handle it, then she will have the tool to handle it, or she'll say, you know what, this isn't a big deal. When the Nicole Arbor video came out, one of my followers, who's a trans woman, tweeted me that video. Distraught. This is terrible. I'm crying. I don't know what to do. I watched half the video. I turned it off and I said, you know what? People are going to do that. I'm not going to waste my time looking at it. And she said, oh, that's right. That's right. I don't have to waste my time doing that. But if we say, yeah, why would Nicole Arbor do that? She's terrible. You're fueling the fire. Be the example. My friend was having a meltdown the other day, and I go, if you had a kid right now, is this how you'd be acting? And they go, no. And I go, well, then act like your son or daughter is watching you and behave that way, because there is somebody's son or daughter watching you.
When I first jumped on, I had an experience with somebody saying something in there. It was something, of course, derogatory and sexual, and actually it was a scope I was talking about sex. And, so, it's appropriate to talk about sexual things, but it was done in an abusive way. And so I said, is that really a question, or are you just, showing hate? And he actually, it seemed like it was a male, because it was a male name, and he quieted down for a moment. It was interesting. He stayed in the scope and listened, and then actually revealed he was from a Middle Eastern country, and that they're not allowed to talk about sex. And he stayed and actually learned something and thanked me at the end. So, and I wouldn't say that's always how you should handle it, because, but that was an example of that sometimes you can be an example in your scope. Just, is that a question? I was talking to Dr. Zahn about that, because she's a sex scientist. We were scoping last night, and there she is. And she handled it like that as well. Somebody asked us a question, and she directed it right at the person, and the person just, was quiet. So, especially when we're scoping on those type of topics, sometimes we address it in that way. So again, but we definitely have to be an example in our scopes to set boundaries. I know you talk about setting your rules. You want to talk about the rules you set?
When we all have like names for our families, and if you've been in one of my scopes, you'll see all the paraments blocking every single troll. And I have actually, and this is a trick that I tried, I don't do as much now, but I get the viewers to write back to them, and you find that 50% of them stop, and they're like, oh my god, they noticed me. And I've stopped calling out their name as much, because I don't want to give them the recognition. And in the first month I was like calling out everyone's name, and then I learned, I got wiser, and I thought, no, don't give them airtime. But I do get them to write back to them, and what happens is I literally saw that 50% of the trolls disappeared because they felt humanized,
Not just by you, but the whole tribe.
The whole tribe. And I think, for me, trolls are part and parcel of Periscope. I've got used to it. It still annoys me. Why should I have to waste like 20% of my time doing this? And I